I saw your green eyes laying on me tonight. I put my bright light shadows on you to spite. Every time I look you.
Is the process really easy for you to write songs, or does it take you a moment and get into a mood before you get to this track that we are going to play soon?
I find it really hard, and I
Okay.
also find it challenging when I'm constantly trying to grow. And the main thing is with my lyrics is like I'm not trying to write basic love songs. I'm trying to address like real world issues and speak about things that are very like real personal things that I've experienced being half English, half
Yeah.
Pakistani, grandparents born in India. Like, you know, I feel at one with South Asia, even though that might be a controversial thing to say, but that's what I feel. And then I feel also at one with my mum being from the UK,
Yeah.
and being like a foot in each world, and I see like two totally different perspectives, and that it gives me so much inspiration to write. And sometimes I'm so overwhelmed with so many issues that need to be addressed, and like for wanting to make a standpoint as a woman, but also, you know, as someone who's always stood out in both societies. I feel like when I went to school here and I had a very English school, I stood out here.
Yeah.
When I go there, people look at me and they're like, some people think I'm like from South America or something.
Wow.
Like, and that's obviously like a really nice compliment. 'Cause
Yeah.
I would take that. But you know, it's like I've always felt like I never fitted in. So there's so many things that lay off of that I want to speak about and address. And sometimes it's so heavy that I'm sitting there with a pen like, how do I even put this in words?
Wow.
It's a lot to deal with, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people will resonate with what you're talking about, because essentially, you know, yes, you are British, but you have so many different identities, and it's how you yourself as a singer-songwriter are able to reflect that in your music. I'm really interested by that because, you know, for me, I've always found the same thing. I've never been Punjabi enough or never been British enough. Has your music always been a therapy for you to kind of really delve into that and understand those different identities that you have?
I started at the age of like 12. So it's been a good 14 years now that I've actually been in the music industry, since I've been like managed as a recording artist,
Wow.
not just somebody that's just been like doing singing lessons.
Yeah.
And I've discovered like so much about myself, and I think it's given me the courage to always recognize the fact that I'm different and embrace that. So like exactly what you said about not being enough this, not being enough that. I'm like, hang on, who can tell me that I'm not enough of something?
Exactly.
That I set my own barriers. And like more than that, like I see other people being treated like that nowadays, and I want to make a stand for them. Like, and I think you were just mentioning another artist that's coming on that's doing like other work with
Yes,
Pakistan and
Taz.
charities.
Yeah.
And I think
Taz.
like it's so important to like recognize the fact that most of us in this country are privileged in some way. The fact that we have access to education, healthcare, and
Yes.
all these kind of things, and like just being able to like give something back to people, especially like in Pakistan. I feel like you and also in India, I've been to India as well, like you see more of a difference between the classes, and you're like, I can't just like go back to like my cushy house in West London where like, you know, thank God I've got parents who love me, that are there for me, like, and just not like give anything back. I feel like for me personally, like I just wouldn't be able to live with myself doing that. And music is such a beautiful way, like medium, to be able to like express all of these things.
When you look at the music industry today, and also the way music is presented, and you obviously have message on your music. I mean, Bob Marley, he was always someone who was a revolutionary. He did a lot of love songs, but he did a lot of rebel music, as he's called it. And then we have that fun songs, right? When people just want to go to a club and enjoy themselves, and women, men, whatever, even the old tracks which aren't right politically anymore, and they might be perceived as sexist. Is there room for all of those songs and all of those kind of expressions when it comes down to entertainers like yourself? Would you be okay with individuals and working and collaborating with them, or do you think no, I can't collaborate with this kind of?
Do you know what? You're
song?
going to make me cry right now. That was such a beautiful question.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's
thank you.
something that like I've honestly like deliberated in my own mind so many times. And there are artists like that, like for example, like Cardi B, who I'm very, very different to her as an artist. I respect that she's come from a hard background, that she's worked out. I think her songs are really catchy. I think sometimes like she doesn't make a good impression on younger women. But you know, she's her own individual going through her own things. And so like there's different parts of me that would say, yeah, you know, I would do a song with her, for example. But then at the same token, then that song would have to be something that has some meaning there for me.
Right.
So with other artists that like I'm not going to slate anybody and say, oh, because they're not writing like world peace stuff, that means that they're not an artist. Like, that's not fair either, because everyone's on their own journey.
Yeah.
But like for me, my whole journey and my whole purpose is to try and make some kind of difference. So if I then compromise my values and my lyrics by writing a song with an amazing artist who wrote songs about things that are very different, like morally, that I didn't agree with, then I think that I would be compromising myself. So I think it depends on exactly the song.
Yeah.
And I think if I could collaborate with an artist that maybe necessarily isn't known for making really like meaningful deep stuff, but they're willing to kind of like work with me on something that, you know, maybe there's something in their specific community that's bothered them and I can help address that, or like, you know, collaborate in that way. But I think my main thing is like my mum's also like my manager, which is fantastic, and she made me from the beginning of my journey write down like a paragraph of like why. She was like, Shaima, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, and you know, with all the craziness of the industry and, you know, being in studios a lot of days and nights, and you can kind of sometimes lose who you are, working with writers who are trying to like tell you what to write. And that's the thing, is I always go back to that and say, why am I doing this? Like, what am I trying to do? And I think that really helps me to stay on the right path.
Now, we are actually going to be playing Green Eyes in the next hour of the show. So if you want to hear the track, stay with us. If you'd like further details for Shaima as well, she's on Instagram. It's SHAIMA, and also on her website, shaimamusic.com. I wanted to ask you as well, just before we go to Travel in the News, I love what you put on your Instagram where it says, when East meets West. Is that important for you to kind of be vocal about and just say, this is who I am? Because most people will kind of home in on one part of their identity and go with that, and you're embracing all of it, aren't you?
I think I've never... I've only recently, just started really more exploring the eastern side, because I'm such a West Londoner.
Yeah, we're West Londoners too, you know, so we're
but you know, I love my biryani. I've been learning how to make it since I got married just almost a year ago.
Congratulations.
So I've been trying to give my husband lots of good food and dal, tikkas and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
my man.
But like, I think it's just about, so many of us in this country are mixed race. We're from different places, and I think it's just about embracing that and being like, okay, I'm gonna go and discover what the country's about. And like, maybe I didn't grow up there. My parents weren't born there, but my grandparents and all the other generations for a long time were all based in this society. And like, what did they live in? How can I learn from that? And you know, just embrace that. And
can I just say, I love that you mentioned food, because I think food brings everyone together.
I agree.
And I'm feeling hungry. But we're going to continue having a chat with Shaima in the next hour of the show. Really want to find out from her more about what she's doing for the rest of 2020. And of course, for the decade, we'll be playing her track Green Eyes as well. Our current guest who's joining us in the studio tonight is West Londoner. So we love her already, because Sonny and I are both West Londoners.
Yeah, I'm from Lambton School, mate.
Shaima. Now, she's been having a great chat with us tonight about her musical journey, but what is fantastic is in a moment we're going to be playing a world exclusive on BBC Radio London. Her brand new single is entitled Green Eyes, and it's going to be released across all formats on the 6th of March. And she also is going to be having an EP out very soon, which is called Unveiled. At the moment, she releases one track a month, and she's been featured as BBC Future Sounds artist. So Shaima, you're quite a busy lady, aren't you? Do you do it for the love of the music?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that always just keeps you going. Always, like every single day you wake up and you're like, yeah, you're doing it just so you can kind of get that reach out there, get the music out there. And just, it's all about momentum as well, and just building momentum and just like trying to spread the love, like basically through the music.
I want to know what Green Eyes is about. What is Green Eyes all about?
So Green Eyes is basically coming from like a point of view about people looking at you with jealousy. So you were like, yeah, I always do that.
Sonny got it.
I got it straight away.
No, it's funny, everyone's always like, do you have green eyes? I'm like,
that's it. Especially when you walk in with sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see that. And now we see you got beautiful hazel eyes. So
one of my friends was also like, oh, did you do that because you thought like the contacts would be cool? And like, are you completely missing the point of the song here? So basically, like, I think a lot of us growing up in schools and stuff, I feel like it's especially a thing in London. I've got like a 15-year-old niece at the moment who's going through a lot of things that I went through with bullying and people just being horrible. And like, you know, in my school especially, being an all-girls school, it was really, really tough at times. And I think basically a lot of people have experienced in some way some jealousy, or some people are saying bad things to them, and it's really about how you deal with that.
Yeah.
And like, especially with social media these days, and like I worry more about the younger generations than about our generation, even though we're still like I'm still relatively young, but I worry about the impact that it has on a lot of people. And it's so much, unfortunately, it's so much easier to be hateful and say bad things than it is to say kind things, or just to hold on to like bad things. And you know, it's like always that thing that people say, if you say 20 nice things about somebody and one bad thing, then they hold on to that bad thing.
True.
So it's like about, if people are saying that, it's just about having that idea of brushing it off and not like allowing yourself to let that get to you, and be like, I know who I am, I'm sure who I am, and like it doesn't matter what anyone says about me, I'm gonna be myself and I'm gonna be happy in myself, you know. And it's about like not letting what anyone says about you affect you.
And you
I
know,
love that.
When you look at your songwriting, and we talk about, you know, mindfulness now, and mental health issues and all of these, and these positive messages that you are projecting, and you just mentioned social media. Have you been attacked on social media, and have you had any kind of backlash of
And
maybe
trolls.
an outfit you will, or the way you do your makeup, or if you said you were from a certain background and people didn't expect you to say that? Have you had these kind of
issues? Like there was once where like I was wearing a headscarf, and like I got quite a few messages that were like, basically, you're being a hypocrite, blah blah blah, because I don't wear a headscarf all the time. It was just in one picture. And there are different things. There's sometimes like people have written like mainly more from India and Pakistan, writing in like Urdu or something like that.
Right.
And to be honest, it's quite funny because I don't particularly understand them. But like my husband or my dad will see them and they'll get really, really like angry and be like, this is like basically like, oh, like this is the thing, like why I don't want you to be in the music industry, because obviously they don't want me to be exposed to any of this. But I'm like, actually, I'm trying to change like the ignorance around it. And like, being a Muslim, like I think that the music is all about like the meaning, and if I'm trying to give a good meaning, if I'm trying to do something good, then I don't think that's bad in any religion. You know, so like there's always going to be ignorance, and I think I'm always going to be faced, especially being one of the only people in the lane that I'm in, where, you know, I'm doing the East meets West and all of this. Like I think naturally that's going to come with it, but that's where the message of Green Eyes comes back around, and you just have to be like accepting of that and be like, okay, well, I don't agree with what anyone says, or what those people are saying about me. Like they don't know me like that, and hopefully like if I keep going, then those people will have less hate in their hearts and like feel the love from what I'm saying and change their mind about that.
I think it's fantastic, and I think you're absolutely right, because unfortunately, as a woman, and you know, we've got International Women's Day coming up very, very soon. You know, as a woman, I suspect you are going to get trolled more than men. We've seen statistics on social media and how people do get lashed out more. And then if you bring in your background, being mixed race, or in fact, as you've just said, having a faith like Islam, there's always going to be people that are critics. You've just got to stay in your lane, right?
Exactly.
And if the music's good, people are going to love it, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah.
And that's the most important thing. Now, the EP is going to be coming out very soon, so we'd love to get you back on the show when that happens. Would you be up for
100%.
that?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for having me today as well.
It's been amazing having you on the show.
It's my first husband-wife radio.
Hey,
podcast.
I
It's
love
wicked.
that. I love
We
it.
normally are, and can I just say
Next
thank
time
you.
I'll bring my husband.
Yes,
as well.
Please do.
Bring him. I would love that. I'd love
Can
you
I
to
just
bring your
say,
hubby.
for anyone who can't see what's happening in the studio, can I just say thank you to your amazing mum?
Thanks to Mum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello,
we're gonna give Mum a name
Absolutely.
check, because she's just
Absolutely.
a ledge.
Mum's name is?
Syra.
Hi, Syra.
We're still gonna call her Auntie out of respect.
Auntie.
Auntie.
Yeah, Auntie.
But listen, if
By
you'd
the way,
like...
she makes the best biryani.
Does she? Right, we're coming around.
She's
Come
from
around, mate.
Bristol,
No,
but like
no.
she makes the most authentic stuff. All my
it's
Pakistani
home-
friends come around.
If it's home cooked, we're there, mate.
Exactly, we are.
You got
We
us.
expect that next
You got
time,
us that.
please.
My mum cooks. Thank you.
Now, if you'd like further details for Shaima, you can actually go on Instagram, SHAIMA, and you can get all the information there. You can go to the website, shaimamusic.com. The brand new single is called Green Eyes. It's out on the 6th of March, and this is a world exclusive. So rather than me introducing it and giving all the information, over to you, Shaima.
So, all my lovely listeners, this is a brand new world exclusive from my new EP, first track to be played off of my new EP, first track to be played on any radio station across the whole world. This is my brand new single, Green Eyes.
I saw your green